Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome from sunny Boston, where I am bringing you this video. I am so pleased to have been invited to participate in this International Virtual Divorce Summit. I can think of no better way to spend my time than to bring you a message that's going to help you navigate the world of divorce from a real estate perspective. So my name is Loren Larsen. I am a residential real estate agent in Boston, Massachusetts. I have been working with divorcing clients for over 20 years now. I started as a divorce lawyer. I practiced divorce law in Chicago and New York City before moving to Boston for my husband in 2007 and becoming a real estate agent, and quickly realizing that my divorce background gives me a unique perspective in helping people sell during divorce. I want to talk to you today about 5 things that pertain to real estate and divorce. I know a lot of times when people go through divorce, the last thing that they're thinking about or that they want to think about is real estate. They know in the back of their minds that they're going to have to deal with it, but there seemingly are so many larger issues happening legally, financially, and in those specific areas. People going through divorce know, well, I don't really know the legal aspects of getting divorced, so I'm definitely going to hire a divorce lawyer. Or I definitely understand that I'm going to need to speak with a financial advisor to figure out my finances in divorce to make sure that I will be okay after the divorce in 5, 10, 15 years after the divorce, right? However, when it comes to real estate, a lot of people think they know how to best dispose of their real estate, value their real estate, handle the real estate. And what people often don't recognize is that your home or any of your real property is most likely not only the largest financial asset that you have, but also one of the most emotionally charged assets that you have. It incorporates so many feelings, so many memories. It costs so much money to maintain, and it is worth so much that people get a little overwhelmed and kind of put it on the back burner, or they decide they know how they're going to handle it. I'm going to buy them out. I'm going to stay. They're going to stay. We're going to sell. We can't afford to sell. And they make these decisions without involving a real estate expert. So I am here to debunk the myth that you can get through it on your own. And I'm also here to help you understand that a real estate agent should be on your divorce team. What do I mean by divorce team? Well, anyone going through divorce is going to have to deal with issues pertaining to 5 core areas. Sometimes it's just 4, but a lot of times it's 5. What are they? Legal, financial, real estate, mortgage, occasionally if you're going to buy, and emotional health. All right. And finding a professional in all 5 of those areas is the basis of an organization that I'm part of called Vesta. It's the premise of getting through a divorce efficiently and effectively with hopefully the least amount of acrimony as possible. And when you think about adding a realtor to your divorce team, there's a lot to consider. So 5 points that I'm going to touch upon today. Number 1, why you need a real estate agent and how to choose one. Number 2, how to value your home. Number 3, the idea of a public sale versus a private sale and what does that mean. Number 4, how to work with your realtor, right? How to communicate with your realtor. How to work with your spouse and a realtor. And then finally, how to prepare your home. All right, so those are the 5 questions that we're going to cover, the 5 topics we're going to cover. Let's start with number 1, why you need a real estate agent and how to choose one. I mentioned that a real estate agent should be part of your core divorce team, but why? What questions are we answering? When should you bring in a real estate advisor? Maybe I start with the second half of this question, which is how to choose one. Let me just say that in your area, there are top real estate agents who work with divorcing clients. All realtors are not created equal, like any profession. You can find realtors that are just starting out, that do not have a lot of experience, and then you can find really top-level realtors that know what they're doing. I have the great good fortune of being a top-producing real estate agent in Boston. I've been recognized by the Wall Street Journal for the last 3 years as being in the top 1.5% of agents in the country. My team and I have been selected by Boston Magazine as top producers for the last 5 years. So we are really out there. We are doing it. We are boots on the ground. We are delivering results that our clients really love. And so we're getting referrals for their trusted friends and colleagues. You want to look for a realtor who is established in the industry. Look for Zillow reviews and Google reviews. Get a real estate agent recommendation, word of mouth through friends. If you can find a real estate agent that has worked with divorcing couples, that is definitely an added bonus. Ask your attorney. Financial advisors are a great resource for good real estate agents. Surprisingly, or maybe not, financial advisors and real estate agents are working together a lot. So ask around until you have 2, 3, 4 names, maybe 5. Meet with these people in person. Perhaps have a call first and see if it's even a good fit on the phone. If it is, meet with them in person. Your real estate agent is going to be the only professional on your divorce team who will likely be inside your house. Take your time choosing this person. It is not it's not a light relationship, right? I have clients that I've been working for 10 years now. It's a relationship we take very seriously, and your real estate agent should make you feel relieved. They should make you feel taken care of. They should make you feel heard. You should also get the sensation from them that they are going to be strong, because there's going to be a lot of issues pulling your real estate agent in different directions, and you need to make sure you're working with someone who can keep your eye on the prize. The prize is a good, successful sale of the house with terms and a price that make everyone happy, okay? So ultimately, when you choose your realtor, you want to feel like you are in good hands with that person. You need one because they are an advisor to you. They will be with you through thick and thin. They will be answering your questions. Most importantly, if you're selling, they'll be answering questions about the market shift. So the price that they give you if they value your home one weekend, you don't end up selling for a couple months, it's going to be a totally different valuation in a couple months or a year. You want to be able to touch base with this person once a week if it makes you feel more empowered to say, what is the value of my house now? If you listed it today, what would you list it for? Is it the same as last week? What are you seeing on the market that looks like my house? How long are those comparable homes taking to go under the market or to sell? Are they being sold over asking price, under asking price? What are mortgage rates doing right now? If there's a title issue, who do you recommend I talk to about this? Getting all my ducks in a row. Your real estate agent is going to help answer all those questions, and they are going to be in lots of communication with you to make sure that you are getting all your questions answered. Okay, number 2, how to value your home. All right, this is a big one. I'm going to touch upon 2 valuation methods. They're probably the 2 most common and the 2 that you hear about the most. Number 1 is an appraisal. Number 2 is a fair market value pricing analysis, otherwise known as a comparative market analysis, or CMA. So you have 2 methods. What is the difference between an appraisal and a comparative market analysis, or CMA? Number 1, an appraisal is created by a licensed appraiser. So a licensed appraiser who has taken the courses and is licensed will perform the appraisal on your home. A CMA is created by a real estate agent. So appraisal prepared by appraiser, CMA prepared by real estate agent. What else is the difference? Often there's a cost difference. An appraisal is going to cost you between $300 and $1,000 depending on where your home is located. A comparative market analysis might cost something if you don't plan to sell. A real estate agent might charge you a few $100s for that. But if you are going to sell now or in the future, most likely the real estate agent will not charge you for that comparative market analysis. It is part of the price of creating a relationship with a potential real estate client that we prepare these CMAs often for no cost, with the understanding that we will then become the advisor for the person who may eventually sell their home. All right, so number 1 is cost. Number 2 is the data that we each consider. What data is an appraiser looking at? What data is a realtor looking at? Very important difference, okay? Appraisers can only look at homes that have sold in order to value your home. This means that if you live at 123 Main Street, sorry, that's my dog. If you live at 123 Main Street, an appraiser can only look at the homes that sold within a few blocks of you in the last 6 months to determine what they view is the current appraised value of your house. That is much, much different than what an appraiser will look at. Than what a real estate agent will look at. When I am preparing a CMA, I am, yes, looking at the homes that have sold. For sure, I'm looking at that because I know that if the buyer of my home has a mortgage, they are going to hire an appraiser to make sure the value is commensurate with what they are paying. However, when I'm looking for a current market value of a house, I'm not looking at what's sold because that's yesterday's news. I'm looking at what's on the market right now, because that is how people are viewing the market right now. But most importantly, my most important data point is I am looking at the homes that are under agreement. What does that mean? A home is listed for sale. There is a sales contract. That means the home is now under agreement and will close in a certain amount of days. Now, in most real estate markets, you cannot know the under agreement price until the home closes. However, the brokerage community is small. And when you work with a seasoned broker, a seasoned real estate agent, they will reach out to the agents who have homes under agreement and say, I know you can't tell me what the final sale price is, but could you give me, please, some indication about, did the home sell? Is the home going to sell for over asking? How many offers did you get? How busy were your open houses? How many showings did you do? Because if the answers to those all go in one direction and the home goes under agreement quickly, I'm going to be pretty certain that the home is going to sell for over list price. If the home has been on the market for several weeks, I'm going to be pretty certain that the home is going to sell just under list price. So when I'm trying to figure out, when other realtors are trying to figure out what is the current market value, we're really talking about what would a willing buyer and a willing seller negotiate today for the sale of this house. As you can imagine, that number in a rapidly shifting real estate market is going to be very different than an appraised value, which can be very static. Now, there are times to use each valuation. If you are buying out your spouse, I think an appraisal is fine to use because it's giving you a more graduated approach to the fair market value over the last 6 months. However, if you are going to list your home, you absolutely may not rely on an appraisal. I don't care if it was done 4 days ago. You absolutely need to have a seasoned real estate agent prepare a comparative market analysis for you. You can have 2 real estate agents prepare different CMAs to compare. You can compare your CMA against your appraised value. That's fine, but do not rely on the appraised value as the current market value of your home. They're just 2 different analyses. They serve different purposes, all right? As I mentioned before, appraisers are called in by banks in order to confirm that a bank is loaning money to someone on an asset, the house, that is worth what that person is paying for it. Because God forbid if that person should default on their mortgage and the bank has to foreclose on the house, they need to make sure that they are getting the value that the buyer paid, okay? And that they're not providing that buyer with a loan that's too much for what the house is worth. So that's a little bit about how to value your home. CMA, comparative market analysis, if you're going to list your home now. Now, there are 2 other less common valuations. There's the assessed value. That value is assigned to your home by your town or municipality. It's for real estate tax purposes. That home is not an accurate price of what the fair market value is. Be aware of that price, be aware of that value. If for no other reason, then you need to know your real estate taxes and what that's based on. But if you're selling your home, other people are going to look at the assessed value. You just want to know what it is. And then there's the value assigned by third-party aggregators like Redfin, Trulia, Zillow. Those values can be spot on or they can be wildly off. Those websites use an algorithm that is not always accurate because they can't take into things that sell off market. They can't take into account improvements or certain nuances in the market. They just don't have that data. So they're just basing that, the algorithm is just using sold homes. So be aware of that estimate or the Zestimate or the Trulia value, but do not use that to value your home. Okay, let's talk a little bit about a public versus a private sale. What do I mean by that? When I say public sale, I am talking about the sale of a home that has been listed on the multi-listing service or any sort of publicly accessible real estate database. It is from those databases that Zillow and Trulia pull the homes. In Massachusetts, we have a service called MLS PIN. And once a home is listed for sale publicly, a real estate agent will put it into MLS PIN. And from there, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin will pick up that data and disseminate it. And that data will be disseminated across the third-party aggregators, okay? That's a public sale. It's publicly available. You can enter the address into your computer and you can find the home. You can see that it's for sale. You can often see open house times. You can see photos. Whatever the realtor put into MLS or the publicly searchable database will pop up online, okay? As you can imagine, this is a really good way to get as much attention as possible, as wide of an audience as possible, to as many buyers as possible when your home is listed publicly, because then people can search all of these different databases and find your home. That's a public sale. Sometimes, especially when people are going through divorce, that thought of having a public sale and having all of that information publicly searchable is very disconcerting. And it feels like a real breach at a time of privacy, at a time when people are already feeling fairly vulnerable, and maybe a little insecure about having a ton of people walking through their house, including neighbors, and everyone in the public. And a lot of times, people selling during divorce do not want their divorce to be made public, but they need to sell the house in order to get divorced. And so a private sale works really well in these situations where you want to maintain some form of discretion about the sale. You do not want it publicly searchable. Then we have a private sale. All right, what happens in a private sale? This is another reason you need a very seasoned realtor, because they need to be able to navigate the private market databases. In Massachusetts, there's a main private market database called Top Agent Network, or TAN. It's for the top 10% of agents in the state, and we conduct a lot of business on TAN. Ask your real estate agent if they have access to broker-only pre- and off-market listing platforms and websites. As a buyer, when you can find a home that's listed off market, that's a huge advantage, because you can get in without all the competition of the mass public. You can have a little more time to negotiate an offer in most cases, and you can really appeal to what the seller really needs. You can find out what the seller's main pain points are or main concerns are, and you can craft your offer to really answer their needs. As a seller, what's the advantage? Why would a seller do a private sale besides the fact that it provides more discretion, as I spoke about earlier? Well, that discretion can be achieved with the assurance that the home is presented to as many qualified buyers as possible. There is a way to do this. If you have a real estate agent that is in front of brokers, is strong in the brokerage community, what the realtor will do is they'll work with the seller to say, okay, we are going to really drill down on price, and let's post it off market at a reach price with reach terms. So what this means is, if your home, you and your real estate agent agree that your home might be worth 1.4 to 1.5, all right, you can list it at a reach price of 1.6 off market to see if anyone is willing to pay that price off market. Two benefits. Number one, as a seller, you already know, because you've listened to your realtor, what the realtor thinks the home will sell for on market. And if the realtor says, I think if we list it at 1.4, we're going to end up getting between 1.45 and 1.5. 1.6 is definitely a reach price. You might appeal to a buyer in very hot markets that is willing to pay a premium to keep that home from going to MLS. And in that way, a private sale really works. So in conclusion about the public versus private sales, a private sale can offer discretion, it can offer privacy, and it is a very good solution as long as you are very clear as a seller the value of the home, so that if you receive an offer off market, you know that the offer is good because you have already worked out all the scenarios of what could happen on market. I have had cases where I put something on off market. We got really good price, we got really good terms, and the sellers understandably said, well, if it did this well off market, let's put it on market to see if we can do even better. And I regret to say that we did not do better on market. So there are definitely times when buyers are willing to pay a premium to have, when that property is off market, that they are not willing to pay on market. And I have never forgotten that experience of, wow, the off market offers can be actually stronger than the on-market offers if the property is marketed correctly and, most importantly, presented to the top brokers in the area. 20% of the brokers in your area are doing 80% of the business. So when you talk to your real estate agent, you want to confirm that they have access to those 20 brokers. If you have access to the top 20% of the brokers in your market, you are most likely going to be in front of the buyers, all the buyers, most of the buyers that are going to be interested in that house. Okay. Now, you're not getting in front of unrepresented buyers. That's true. That's something you have to consider. You're getting in front of the represented buyers that have agents when you list off market. All right. Let's go to how to communicate with your realtor when you're going through a divorce. This is really important. It's not just how you communicate with your realtor, it's also how your realtor communicates with you. So when I was a lawyer, one of the things that would really frustrate me is lack of a strong realtor that could help my client and their exiting spouse get through the sale of the home. A lot of times parties actually have to sell their homes in order to get divorced. At the very least, the parties need to know what the valuation is for their home, which is why you'll always need to value your real estate in order to get divorced. A big reason why you want to bring in a realtor. So it would be very frustrating. We would be very close to reaching a settlement agreement, and then the parties would argue about how to sell the house. They would each have their own realtor. The realtors would not know how to communicate with the parties. One party would decide halfway through they don't want to sell anymore, and that realtor would not do what was best for the house. The realtor would get nervous and just listen to that client and say, well, I just can't sell right now. It's too hard. The house is in really rough shape, and I don't know as a realtor how to get them to fix it up. I don't know how to get this property to shine once I sell it. And make no mistake, when you are selling a home during real estate, you need that money more than maybe any other time. It is not the time to sleep on the presentation of that house. All right, people can smell a house being sold during divorce a mile away, and it is a definite detriment to homes that are being sold if the buyer knows that you're going through divorce. All right, so how do you communicate with your realtor? First of all, you should have one. Both of you together should have one realtor. How does this happen? Inevitably, one of you will meet a real estate agent or know a real estate agent that you think would be a good fit for selling the home. My recommendation is that you do not, if you want to work with this person, that you do not introduce them to your spouse. If you like this real estate agent and think that they are strong enough and experienced enough to get you through the sale of your home in an expert manner, what I would recommend is that you have that real estate agent contact your spouse, your exiting spouse, independent. And that way, let the realtor, and this goes for any professional, let the professional establish an independent relationship with your exiting spouse. Do not be the bridge between them, A. B, once you have that professional and the professional talks to your exiting spouse, the professional, the real estate agent, really needs to consider each relationship independently. So the common asset that we're all sharing is the home, but the communications between parties will be different depending on the spouse. However, it's okay to have conversations with the spouses independently, but anything that involves the real estate always must be transparent between both parties. There are no sidebars about how to prepare a house, how to sell a house. Oftentimes what I say to my clients is everything that I talk to you about pertaining to the real estate will be presented to both of you at the same time. And sometimes what I do that's really effective is I will communicate directly with both parties' attorneys, their divorce attorneys. So my email goes out to Attorney Smith and Attorney Jones, and then I say, Attorney Smith and Attorney Jones, here's an update on what we've done. I have blind copied the parties. This allows the attorneys to respond to the email, but the clients cannot just chime in. They're not communicating directly with one another, but I'm communicating with them directly at one time. So have your real estate agent really get clear on how she or he is going to communicate with both of you. The blind copy option is really effective because then you're both getting information at the same time. The other thing is, you both really need to trust this person. If one of you is not on board or doesn't trust the person, ultimately it's not going to work. I know that's really hard, but it is incumbent upon your real estate agent to earn the trust of both parties. So real estate agents have different ways of doing this. I just want to encourage you when you're selecting a realtor, give a little, because it's not going to be perfect for everyone. But if you think a real estate agent is going to do a good job, maybe you don't really like them personally, but you know their record's strong and you know they're going to get the job done. See if you're able to work with them. It is amazing. This is a sidebar, but I'm going to tell you, after doing this for years and years and years, I have been brought into truly contentious divorces. I've been appointed by judges. I've been appointed by attorneys who are appointed special masters by judges to come and help really contentious people sell home in really contentious divorce situations. When I come in and I lay out the plan and I gain the trust of both parties and they're able to execute the sale of the house, it changes the tenor of the divorce. I can say that completely. I have watched that happen to couples just in preparing a house. I have gone into homes that it look like hoarding situations. I've worked with both parties to develop a schedule of when each person would prepare the house. We have worked together with me as the linchpin, as the centerpiece, to figure out how to prep a house. And I have seen couples work through other areas of the divorce successfully after they have accomplished the preparation or the sale of their home. It can change. A successful sale, a successful preparation of a house to be sold can change the dynamic of your divorce, because it is such a big thing that when you see that together you work towards this common goal, it can help in other areas of your divorce. So this, I kind of got a little off track about how to communicate with your realtor, but I guess what I'm saying overall is the realtor should be a neutral, should be a professional neutral that is always keeping the success of the sale of the house at the forefront of all the communication, is being blisteringly honest with everyone, and who both parties can trust are not taking a side of one spouse or the other, right? Moving through the system, moving through the process, fully transparent and inspiring trust in everyone on both sides. All right, last but not least, I want to talk about how to prepare your home. I just touched upon that a little bit. First things first, if you are buying out your spouse and you are staying in the home, and that is determined to be the best solution by both your attorney and your financial advisor, everyone says, yes, you can buy out the house, you're able to do that, you get to stay in the house. First of all, if that's possible, that's always what we're working towards. All right, I never want to sell a house if someone could actually afford to stay there. So let's turn over every rock. You're going to work with your mortgage broker to see what that looks like from a lending perspective. Can you buy out your spouse? What's the mortgage going to look like? What does your credit look like? If everyone determines, yes, you can stay, awesome. Please, if you are going to buy out your spouse, get the home professionally inspected. Hire a professional licensed home inspector to inspect that house before you sign your settlement agreement. I don't care if you bought the house 6 months ago, get another inspection. You could have damage that has occurred since you bought the house that you have no idea. You should approach the house like a brand new buyer, because you are now a brand new homeowner and you own that home alone. And after your divorce is final, if there's deferred maintenance that came up that you have to pay for, you are not going to be able to renegotiate easily the settlement agreement to get money for that. Once your settlement agreement is signed and the assets are divided, it is nearly impossible to get that changed. So work any deferred maintenance into your settlement agreement. You might have a leaky roof, an old hot water heater. You might want to upgrade your home to gas from oil. You might have a pesky leak in your basement. You might need to replace your main cleanout. Whatever it is, you want to think about, A, how am I going to be able to live securely in this home without having any big expenses coming up? And B, if I'm going to sell this house after I buy it, what is a buyer going to think about the house? Address any issues that maybe a potential buyer is going to have a hang up about, and get that paid for in your settlement agreement if possible. Okay, so we talked about deferred maintenance. Here's a common misconception. I cannot sell before my divorce is final. Wrong. You can sell before your divorce is final, and oftentimes it makes more sense to sell before your divorce is final for cap gains purposes. Please talk to your accountant about that, okay, in the US. Talk to your accountant about that. When you sell before the divorce is final, it can actually work out really well for both parties. But what if you're arguing about who's going to get the proceeds of the home? Here's what we do. If you're arguing about all of the proceeds, you put everything into an escrow account. But you're able to sell at a time in the market, because timing is everything. If you're in a hot market and it's March in the US, and in most places spring is a really hot time, it's February or March, and you want to sell during this spring market, but you know your divorce is 6 months away from being finalized, I would stipulate to get that home sold during the good market, as long as we can find you a place to go. That's another video entirely, but I've got a lot to say about how to find you a place to go. We always will. Take advantage of the hot market, sell the house, you put the proceeds in escrow. And if you can agree on a certain amount of the proceeds that you know you'll each take, that can give you some cash now. If you sell your home for $1 million and you are disputing $400,000, you can divide the other 600 between you. Okay, if you're disputing the 400, you don't know how that part's going to be taken care of, but you can agree that 600 will be divided equally between you. Then in a lot of cases, your attorneys will agree that you can each take that cash. It gives you a little cash infusion before the divorce is final. Sometimes this doesn't work. I am not giving legal advice. I'm just telling you anecdotally. I've seen it happen this way, where you can take a little out from the proceeds before the divorce, and that can often help people. You really have to be in agreement to do that, though. Okay. When we are preparing a home, typically what we're looking for is a home that's been decluttered, depersonalized, perhaps staged, if we really need to showcase the home in the best light possible, painted. What we do when we go into a home, and this is something you should ask your realtor about, is we prepare an as-is value and we prepare an as-improved value. So here, your home is going to sell for $1 million. If you hand us the keys right now, we think that's what it's going to sell for, $1 million. If you do these 5 things that we believe will bring the biggest return, these 5 things will cost you $30,000, and the as improved price will be 1.2. So we believe that if you put $30,000 into your home right now, we could potentially get another $200,000 or $170,000 if you net it out on the sale as improved. A lot of real estate agents, our team included, can pay for all these improvements upfront. So ask your realtor if they have the ability to front the money for those improvements upfront. That's a huge advantage for our clients, is that we can do that. We get reimbursed at closing interest free. So that is because I work for a brokerage called Compass. If you have a Compass agent, they have available, this program is available to them. So ask your realtor if you need improvements done, if they can provide the money upfront to do that. It's a huge win for everyone. If you're not staging and you're just kind of preparing the home yourself or with the guidance of a realtor, I want you to think about neutralizing the home. As I mentioned earlier, you do not want buyers to know that you're selling during a divorce. They can sniff this a mile away. In some very extreme cases, buyers have gone to divorce attorneys and asked the divorce attorney to look up a settlement agreement to see if one has been filed. They are public record most of the time in the U.S. to see if the separation agreement includes a provision pertaining to the marital residence. And sometimes recorded settlement agreements that are final will say if the sellers receive within at least 95% of the asking price, they have to sell. So make sure that when you are selling your home, you are paying attention so that it seems like you are not forced to sell because of a divorce. How do we prepare a home in this way? Well, if we go into the primary bedroom and we go into the closet, then we like to stage the closet with clothes on both sides of the closet. Maybe there's a vanity, we're putting a toothbrush on both sides of the vanity. We're making sure there are no abandoned rooms that were clearly just used to be an office and now are abandoned. You're really approaching the preparation of that home to kind of downplay any idea that the parties are being forced to sell. So you want to neutralize the home and make sure that people understand, or make sure that buyers don't get the sense that you are in any way pressured to sell. If you need to store stuff, there are many, many moving companies that will allow you to store stuff at their facility for free if you use them for your move. So ask your realtor. This is another thing the realtor does. The realtor knows everyone. We know movers, electricians, plumbers, roofers, floorers, contractors, painters, plasters. We know everyone. So ask your real estate agent, hey, is there a moving company that will allow me to store my stuff while I look for a place? The final thing that I want to say is, if you need to buy yourself a little bit of time to find a place after you sell, there are methods that your real estate agent can use in conjunction with your real estate attorney to buy you a little more time in your house. There is something called a lease back. That would allow you as a seller to sell your home, and then after the closing, you have the proceeds. You will be allowed to remain in that home for maybe up to 2 months. 2 months is the maximum amount of time, usually, if your buyer is getting a mortgage. Their loan terms will change if that lease back is longer than 2 months. So typically we say up to 2 months, you can remain in the home. And during that time, you will pay the buyers, who are now the new owners, a lease back amount. It is not a lease. The agreement is called a use and occupancy agreement, and your attorney will understand the rules and how to write that. But it's a device that gives you a little extra time in the house to get your belongings together. I've had clients who've been allowed to stay in the house for free during the leaseback time in very hot markets. I've done a private sale where the buyers were so excited to get the house, and these buyers were not getting a mortgage, so the lease back was 6 months. So the lease back is a really nice way to get the security of the sale. You have the proceeds, but then you have a little bit of extra time to get your ducks in a row before you have to move out. So this has been a lot of information. This is a passion of mine. I love what I do. I love working with clients and bringing them solutions that they did not know possible. And I think that's my final message, which is if selling the real estate or moving feels impossible to you, it's understandable. Please, please do yourself a favor of finding someone who's going to make it seem totally doable. And maybe it's going to still feel like a long journey, but you need to feel like you're in good hands with someone who sees the finish line and knows the best way to get you from here over the finish line. All right. We understand that this is an incredibly emotional time. It's really trying. I am a child of divorce. I lost my family home in a divorce. I'm really insensitive to that. I also know that oftentimes in divorce, you have to make very tough decisions in a small amount of time, and you want to make sure that you're supported and buoyed by people who are in the best position to guide you in those decisions when maybe you feel less equipped to deal with them. So those are my takeaways. Search for the right professional. Get someone that makes you feel good. Allow that person to establish an independent relationship with your spouse. Bring them on board. Bring them onto your team. Use them early and often. Go to them with questions if you have it. Trust in your gut when you hire this person that they're out for your best interests. Know that there is a plan for preparing your house. There's a plan for marketing the home, selling the home, and making sure that you have a place to go, most importantly, at the end of this. And a good real estate agent is going to take care of all of those things. So thank you for your time. I'm very happy to offer a free consultation to anyone that wants to talk more about some of the finer points that I mentioned or didn't get to. I'm happy to talk to you. You can reach me at Loren, Loren, @compass.com. I'm on Instagram at Loren@Compass. So always happy to meet with anyone, anywhere in the world and talk real estate. My best to you, blessings to you in this journey. It will not look like this on the other side. Thank you.